What's going on, guys? It's hot right now, so I'm going to try to make this video super quick. Um, I have decided to delete my Sony account, and this pissed off a lot of people. Uh, there's a ton of reasons why. The main three reasons are you will own nothing and you will be happy. We're going to stop giving you the ability to make different purchasing choices outside of our ecosystem. And we are also going to eliminate um, game preservation. Um, those are the big three, and then a couple of other things that I've seen over the years that I'm just not a big fan of. For one, Herman Hulst is one of the worst CEOs that Sony has ever seen. They need to get rid of that guy immediately, but he continues to run that company into the ground. It's shocking to me how bad it gets. Um, so let's just talk about the ownership thing first. We don't own digital games. We know this. It's not a shocking revelation, but the difference is when I buy a game on Steam, I can still play it. This is the first game that I ever purchased on Steam, and it is playable to this day. Let's look and see when I actually purchased that. It was the first game that I bought. Is there a way to do that? I don't think that there is. There might be a way. I have to figure it out. Yeah, here we go. Here we go. November 14th, 2004 is when I purchased that. That was a very long time ago. That's 20 years ago. Good Lord. And my Steam account is 19 years old. So if that gives you any idea, it's about to hit 20. Okay. That was the day before my birthday, too. A day after. Nice. Nice. Anyhow, so I've had a Steam account for quite some time, and it was a mandatory thing when you buy Half-Life 2 that you had to sign up for a Steam account. And that drove people up a wall. And look at them now, right? I've got over 2,000 games on this platform, or approaching 2,000 games on this platform. Um, PlayStation, however, I've got about 585. That's respectable. It's not that bad. It's similar to the Xbox. I think I've got about, 286 plus the physical discs that I have as well. So that's something else to consider. So PlayStation has been like my big console, right? Um, I've been a Sony fan since '99. I purchased the original Sony PlayStation. I think it was in the year 2000. We rented it once, so I had the memory card with my save of Final Fantasy VII at the time on it, and I was able to pick that up. After I graduated high school. It was pretty cool. So I was able to purchase a PS1, 2, 3, 4, PSP, PS Vita, all at release. The PlayStation TV and the PS5 I picked up later on. But I've been a fanboy of this platform for quite some time. Played the original Metal Gear Solid and Grand Theft Auto 3 at release. I got bored of one. I threw in the other disc and we kept playing. Right, like it was one of the greatest gaming experiences I can remember from my birthday that year. It was really cool. But this brand has started to do some really weird things, and I just can't see myself continuing to give them money anymore and supporting it, especially in a world where everything is so open-ended and I don't really have to. It's kind of funny to see Sony make these decisions at the worst possible time that you could possibly be making these decisions. Like, we're going to send an email out to all of our customers, all of our renters, knowing that there's a PlayStation Blackout that's happening this week. We're going to send that information out to them, reminding them that they don't own anything. Like, who in marketing decided that that was a smart decision? We're going to send the email that's going to really put salt in that wound at the time when people are not online and they're already kind of mad. It's a weird decision to make. So what they've done is they basically took a bunch of movies away from people like 3 weeks ago. And that really upset me because, it didn't really upset me because I already own these movies on physical Blu-ray. But I was just kind of looking at that going, oh, so you're taking stuff away from people because you don't want to pay the licensing fees anymore. Got it. Well, that lowered my trust in you. Okay, my trust with Sony was sitting at like a 70%, right? Let's say. I trust them pretty well. I didn't have any reason not to, but I'm starting to see some decisions in their business model and the way that they're kind of running the shop. And Herman Hulst is one of the worst CEOs I've ever seen. And just remaking Horizon Zero Dawn because that was a game he worked on multiple times. Meanwhile, Bloodborne isn't getting worked on. Like, what are we doing, guys? And I'm seeing all these weird decisions. I'm seeing them prop up games like Concord that nobody plays, wasting a bunch of money, and then we have to pay for it, with Blue Point Studios getting shuttered, and all the other decisions that Sony's made over the past like year. Bungie, like that whole situation with Destiny 2. It's like, come on, guys. Like, what are you doing with this brand? Reality is, my confidence in their brand has gotten lower and lower and lower, right? And then they said that they're going to be, after they remove movies from me, they're out of my account because they didn't want to pay for them. They decided that they were going to stop making physical discs altogether. And if you know anything about me, I'm super passionate about game preservation, right? Like, I wouldn't know about 3/4 of the Super Nintendo library if it wasn't for emulation and being able to put those things on retro consoles, on emulators on my PC, on my Ein Odin 3, on my Ein Thor, on a retro device like an Ambernic RG40XXV or a 35XXSP or any of those, right? Those are really, really cool little, Game Boy devices. I've got one right here, and basically it's a little Game Boy device that you put a custom OS on it and you can play Symphony of the Night on the go, right? And interestingly enough, when you're all done, you can use a tool like this called Retro Achievements, and you can get achievements for those games too. So I'm like thinking about this thing going, wait a minute. Sony's taking stuff away from me. They're eliminating discs. I have all this stuff on their platform I can't even play because they don't have backwards compatibility for it. My PlayStation 1, 2, and 3 games are inaccessible in every way humanly possible on the PS5. I have a PS3. I have the Vita and a PSP. I have a PS2 and a PS1. I will be hacking all those things so I can get access to everything in Sony's platform. And I'm going to be selling all the physical discs. Eventually, I'm going to get to a point where I'm going to sell the hardware too. And I'm like, wait a minute, I could just play them all on here. Why would I be hacking a PSP when I could sell it? I've got a PS Vita. That's a $200 device right now. I'm going to do that. So this is the kind of the thought process I'm going through, right? Why would I keep a PS3 around when I can sell it for $170 is what I think I saw for one on eBay. And, the kind of the average price is probably less than that, but you get the idea. They're going to go up as time goes on. I've got like 300 games sitting in the bookshelf over, in the living room that I could sell. I'm going to give it like 8 months, 10 months, a year and a half, something. See how much those things are worth, because physical media in the Sony space is going to be dead, and everybody's going to want it, and you're not going to have the ability to play any of it unless it's through their services, unless it's through streaming, unless it's through all these other things that as a gamer, I am not comfortable doing. I'm not going to stream my games. I've tried the game streaming services. They're shit. They do not look good. Like, look at, my favorite example was the Xbox store, right? You open up the Xbox store and you start playing like Fallout 3 on the 360, but on your laptop. I could do it right here. You open up the Xbox store just like this, and you basically say, go to your library, and here's your library. I don't want to install any games. I just want to see Fallout 3. Oh, wait, hang on. You gotta type the thing in there. It's not gonna know what I'm doing. Okay, there's Fallout 3. I click the button. I plug my controller in, of which I do not have plugged in at the moment, but let me just hit the start button and get it running. By the way, this is not an Xbox or a PlayStation controller. Even though I can plug one into my laptop, it's just an 8-bit SNES looking controller, right? I can literally turn this thing on and be playing Fallout 3 in whatever. And it looks like shit because it's streaming. Nobody wants to stream their games because they look like crap compared to actually playing them. Like, you're going to take a stream game and put it on your 4K monitor or TV. It's not going to work well. So I guess the point I'm trying to make here is that streaming is in the future. You can't give me the backwards compatibility that I deserve. I own all this product that I can't even do anything with unless I actually have the consoles. Thank God I do. But you've made the download process so painful. I have to scan through a list of 400 freaking games. I think my total list on the PS3 is over 1,000 lines. So I need to go, I think it's like 1,400, 1,500. So I need to be able to scan through an entire list of stuff. When I get to something, hit the download button, wait, it does its little thing. Then I click the button again so that I can download it in the background. It does another little thing. And I have to do that until the download queue gets full. When that's done, I have to leave my PlayStation on overnight, go do anything else, come back to it later. Hopefully by that point, all of the items are downloaded, but they're not installed. So then I need to install them. In order for me to get my games, my PS3 games that I've purchased from Sony onto my store, thank God the store's still up, by the way. But in order for me to actually do that, that's like a 3-week process of me just downloading every item by hand. And here's the kicker. It eventually crashes because the store is trash. Sony hasn't done anything with it. They haven't tried to update it. It's a garbage solution for downloading your stuff. So what's easier? Downloading the stuff from Sony or just finding it on the internet and playing it using RPCS3 on my computer? If I don't own this stuff anymore, if none of this is actually mine, even though I've put money into it, why am I not going online and just finding it somewhere else, playing it on an emulator? So this is when my brain starts turning. I'm like, okay, so I can emulate PS4, PS3, PS2, PS1, PSP, and PS Vita. That's 5 consoles. I'm missing the PS5. And they're working on an emulator right now. So in a couple of years, when I want to play the one of like 3 games that are first party on this console, I can fire up the emulator and play Demon's Souls Remastered. I can fire up the emulator and play the Wolverine game everybody's been talking about. That honestly I don't think is going to be that good because Sucker Punch hasn't made a good game since the first Spider-Man. Like, the second Spider-Man was awful. What they did to Peter Parker was abysmal, and I feel really bad for him. But he's not a real person, so there it is. But they just cucked him. It was amazing. Anyhow, Ghost of Yotai, I'm clamoring to play that one. The point I'm trying to make is that if I want to play Ghost of Tsushima, all I have to do is fire up Steam. It's here. It's $59 on the store. Well, guess what? I got another... Yeah, we know what it's rated. I got another option. Ghost of Tsushima. Oh, look, $38. It even goes on sale sometimes on Steam. I think I've seen it for like $29. My buddy plays. It's great. I played like the first hour on PlayStation. It was good. I mean, I had other games to play at the time. Sold my PS5 before I could actually finish it. Because I have too many options for games. I have literally 2,000 fracking games in here. Well, that says 1864, but this app says I have more than that. But the point is, I also have Xbox. I also have EA. I also have Blizzard. I have so many options. I don't need Steam anymore. Or, sorry, I need Steam. I do not need Sony anymore. Sony is just a redundancy for me, right? But people are getting really, really upset when I talk about this. It's like, why am I going to give money to a company that doesn't care about me as a customer? You don't own anything. I'm choosing to opt out of that. If I don't own anything on your platform, I'm taking everything that you have and I'm going to be using it without your approval. And you can't stop me. That's the other thing that's wild about it. It's like, I can take every single one of these discs, put them in my computer, get the image of the Blu-ray or the CD or the DVD or whatever it might be, and I can put it through an emulator and play it better than Sony. I'm literally supporting Sony in my house better than Sony is supporting their own paying customers. Think about that. And then you've got people that are so invested in the ecosystem and the platform that when you talk about leaving it, they get so angry and violent and hateful in the threads that they're talking about. Listen, I've been online for a lot of years. I've never seen anything like the way that people talk to you about you deciding that you're going to go a different direction with your gaming hobby. I've never seen anything like it in my life. I've never seen a fandom breed such crazy people that say the most disgusting, and if it was like to your face, like it'd be fight on sight. Like you'd be out in the streets. It's wild. Even in the political space, like when people like crap talk each other and stuff like that and call people names, it never gets to the level of like, I'm going to come to your house and do the things that I'm going to do to your family. I've never heard anything like that before in my life. It's wild. I have people in my DMs that are literally like angry at me because I posted a picture of my account being closed. The literal email that you get when you close your account from Sony, just so you can see what it looks like, is, one moment. Here we go. So this is the email that you get. You say, we've received your request to close your Sony account for PlayStation. Your account will be closed within 30 days. If you requested to close your account, no further action is needed. If this was unintentional, you can cancel closing your account by contacting PlayStation support within 30 days of the email. Thank you for playing with PlayStation. So, I mean, this is the kind of thing, right? This is how you do the real blackout, okay? This turning your console off for 30 days. This turning your console off for a week. No. What you do is you delete them from your life. You don't need them. They need you. And it's high time that you remember that. Like, they need you. If you aren't giving them money, they're not likely to thrive. And it's only a matter of time. That's kind of, I think, the worst part about it, right? These people are so invested. They put a bunch of money. It's sunk cost fallacy for them. They wouldn't be able to just delete this from their life. But I sort of conducted this experiment at the beginning of the announcement of the No More Discs thing, right? The minute the No More Discs thing happened, I really got kind of depressed. It took me a minute to kind of process why I was feeling the way I was. Every time I would go to play something, I was right in the middle of Death Stranding 2. I just got done finishing Death Stranding 1. I was so excited to like finally finish that game. I really enjoyed it. I know there's people that hate that game, but the reality of it is that I really enjoy that game. And I was really excited. I got invested in the community aspects of it too. So it was just kind of like, you know, putting the bridges there and things like that, and the zip lines and things for other people to use when they needed the help that they needed. It gave me a feeling that I've never had from any other game, and I think that's why I loved it so much. And then, not even 3 or 4 days after that, I was already like 3 to 4 hours into Death Stranding 2. And I heard the announcement that Sony was going to end discs. And I was just like, I just heard the story about them removing titles from your account. They're ending discs. And now, how do you archive games for the future? You can't. Like I said, I've had so much fun going back in time into the Super Nintendo platform and finding games like Ignition Factor, Rendering Ranger R2, Maju Uo, Clock Tower. Games that Nintendo doesn't have the licensing for or the ability to even sell you. Terranigma. That I'm starting to see Sony is starting to want to sell these games to you. And it's like, okay, that's cool. I would love to have a copy of that, but it already exists as a ROM. And the version that you're going to sell me is not going to be good. Like Terranigma, right now, I just saw an ad for it a couple of days ago. Like, they're not going to do anything to it. They're not going to add anything. It's just going to be an emulator running a ROM. It might not even have achievements. I got achievements here. If that's your thing, right? Why would I spend money on something that I already own, technically? Own by have in my hand. I don't own it. But you don't own it through Sony either, because they just sent an email out yesterday or the day before, a big 40-page freaking document or something, EULA, that basically reminds you that you don't own anything that is on their platform anyway. Well, if you don't sell me something, then I can't pirate everything, right? If I have no ownership over this, then why am I giving you money at all? Gabe Newell said this. Piracy is a service issue. And he's totally right. The reason why people pirate video games is because they can't get them. For whatever reason, right? They can't get them cheaply. They can't get them in their country. Or they don't exist anymore. Archive projects and game restoration, or not restoration, sorry, video game preservation is a really big deal. I already talked about this before. This is Exodus. This is a platform, not really a platform, it's a big package of games. 757 gigabytes, by the way, of all the DOS games from the beginning to the end. And it grows. And there's magazines during the time period and soundtracks and books. They have different playlists for the different types of games that were around at the time and the different sound systems they used. There's a front end for it and everything. All I got to do is download it, 638 gig torrent, or I can get the light release, which is a 5 gig torrent. I literally put it on my laptop, and then I'm able to go out and download the games on the fly when I want to play them, the specific ones that I want. If I want to play Wing Commander Privateer from 1994, I can go in here and do that. If I want to do that, also, I can go to GOG.com. I can purchase that. Wow, if I can type correctly. I guess I can't today. I can go to GOG.com. These digital games you actually own. Oh, that's cool. They have the Saboteur. Sick. This is a game I have on EA. I don't love EA. But I would love to be able to uninstall that EA app because this is the only game that I really love playing on my EA app. Between this and the Syndicate game that they had. Those are the two that I have on my EA account that I really want. And this is one of them. That's really cool. So I can spend $20 and I own it because these are DRM free. And in the EULA, you actually own the product. They're a digital purchase that you own for yourself. You can do whatever you want with it. But guess what? If it's ones and zeros, you can do whatever you want with it anyway. A Steam game right here. It's real simple. All you got to do, watch this. Install. Okay, we're going to take Dead Cells. I'm going to make a backup. Backup game files. We are going to put that on my desktop. Do I have to name it? No, I don't. It's just being slow. Okay, cool. We're backing up Dead Cells right now onto a physical piece of media so I can go back and grab it later. Like, PlayStation doesn't like let you do this to this extent. Like, I can't burn a physical like disc and put it in a freaking CD case and then later on, you know, install it from that disc if I wanted to, right? But this, I can install a 32 freaking terabyte drive. I have a server that I can basically dump 40 terabytes worth of Steam games onto it if I wanted to. So I'm not even downloading anything off their store anymore. If I want to play a version of Skyrim that existed 4 years ago, I can go to a platform and put in some commands in the Steam thing, downgrade it to that level, and then all my mods work. Oh, and mods. I haven't even talked about that yet. So at this point, like console is a hard sell for me, you know? So anyway, those are the big reasons why they just kind of moved away from me. And then the other thing that's kind of moved things away from me too is this insane and rabid fan base. Like, and I don't understand it because I've been a Sony fan since like 1999. So you would think you would get a little bit of grace from some of these people, but it feels like nobody wants to even understand the arguments of the people like me. They just want to call you names. They just want to be shitty and force you out of the hobby as fast as they can. You can't even make the argument with them. Like, literally all I want to do is explain to them, how do you play Ghost of Sparta? How do you play Chains of Olympus on your platform? You can't. There is no way for you to play those games on your Sony console right now. You only have access to 15% of your library. And they are literally just like, well, I guess I just don't need it then. Wait, so you're telling me you're going to buy something and then you're just going to give what Sony gives you, and you're just going to put up with that? Like, I've never been that way about anything. Like, I'm always trying to get the most out of everything that I purchase. So it's starting to feel like people have more money than brains, right? They're sort of pound foolish, penny smart, I guess. And they also don't fully understand what a company can do with the kind of power that they're willing to give them, right? So the big thing that I keep trying to tell them is, like, you're going to get to a point where Sony's going to put a game in the vault just like Disney used to back in the day, right? You get a Disney tape, Cinderella, for example. Oh, you better buy it now. If you don't buy it now, it's going to go in the vault and you're not going to see it for 3 or 4 years. So buy it now before it's too late. They would do that crap all the time. And that's kind of what I think is going to happen with video games from the Sony platform in the future. And the only way that you can get around it is to go to an alternative platform like Steam, GOG, Sail the High Seas, Epic Game Store, if it's still around in a couple of years, which I highly doubt. Or people are just not going to be AAA gaming anymore. This is going to be the end of it. So I don't really understand what people aren't fully understanding about my thought process on this thing. And maybe I've done a good job explaining it to you. If you have questions, let me know. But what I'll probably get from most people is a bunch of angry hatred. No actual understanding of the situation. Like this disingenuous, like, purposeful misunderstanding that people tend to do on the internet anymore. But I read a really good quote recently, and it was basically this. I can disagree with you on something as long as we both understand that our arguments are going to be based in logic, facts, reason, or any sort of like statistical analysis, like things like this. But if I'm having a discussion with somebody and we disagree about something, and all it turns into is ad hominem, they don't want to listen to the facts of a particular situation, or they just don't agree that those facts are even relevant to their worldview, I can't really have a conversation with you about it. So when people like us are moving away from Sony during this Sony blackout, it turns into a situation where they're purposely misunderstanding the conversation. It's like we're talking past each other, right? The reality is Sony as a company is doing very bad things. And you are bought in with the thousands of dollars that you've already paid into this platform. And that level of buy-in is something that's turning you into an irrational human being. You've lost your mental faculties about this thing. You can no longer be objective about the situation. It's almost like putting a police officer on the case of tracking down his daughter. You would never do that, right? Because he's too close to this thing, right? Oh, bud, you're too close to this. I can't let you, blah, 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 right? It's kind of an old trope from movies, but it's kind of true in this particular situation. And it takes a certain enlightened few, and I will put myself in that category, that looks at a situation like this and goes, hey, look, I went through my entire Sony platform here, and I only found like maybe 30 games that I can't get anywhere else. Like, straight up not playable. I can live with that. What I can't live with is feeling like crap when I turn on my console and knowing that the company is actively fighting to remove my rights away from me. Not even just ownership, but the level of standards that I get on other gaming platforms are being eliminated. That's an unacceptable thing for me. And I'm not going to, like, if I wanted to be a sub, I'd pay a dominatrix. Like, I'm good. I got other options. I don't need Sony, right? And I think that's the weird thing that I'm seeing with this whole thing, is that there's a lot of like tribalism, and there's a lot of like sort of sunk cost fallacies that are happening at this point. And I think if they were to actually sit down and be objective and like really honest with themselves, I think a lot of these people would kind of get to the point where they would agree with you. But again, they would say things like, well, yeah, you know, I can see where you're coming from, but I'm bought in and I can't move. You know what I mean? So essentially what you've done is you've let a company control you. Like, so much to the point where you're defending streaming your games because you can't have access to backwards compatibility. You're defending not even being able to play the games that are legally yours because they're not legally yours. When I can sit here and play games on my Steam account, I've never had a single piece of software taken from me on this Steam account. I can play stuff that you guys don't even have access to. There's Fall of Cybertron right there. I was actually playing that very recently. It's really good. Deadpool, that's another one. A couple of games you just can't purchase. I mean, if I was to go and find like the list, I'm sure there's a ton of them, right? God, they got achievements for this one now too. I'm gonna have to go in and freaking play this again, aren't I? Oh, it's War for Cybertron. That was the one. War for Cybertron. That's the one I played the crap out of. Holy Nikes, I love that. Of course, no achievements for this, but man, that was a fun game. I got to play Fall of Cybertron, I guess. Anyway, thanks for coming to my TED Talk, I guess. But my account has been deleted. I got about 30 days of waiting before that account is Dunskies. There it is. 30 days to wait from now. All that fun with Sony over the years, ever since 1999 with the original Metal Gear Solid, Final Fantasy VII, every single console that I purchased between then and now, gone. And I did the same thing with Nintendo. We'll see how long it takes for Xbox and Steam to keep me around, but there will come a time, I hope, never, but there will come a time where they start doing anti-consumer stuff too, and they'll be gone. I will be straight up emulating everything. I'll be finding everything I can on the internet the best of my abilities. And meanwhile, the Sony kids will be streaming their games. They won't own anything. They'll be playing things during rental periods. Like the Xbox, for example, that opens the door for 3 months, and then you can play like Avowed for 3 months, and then they pull it off the store. So any progress that you made is just sitting there in your hard drive, staring at you, going, I bet you wish you could play this. The difference is on the Xbox, you can actually go get the physical disc and put it in your console. What happens when Sony says, oh yeah, so we're no longer going to do that anymore. Now that you don't have any rights, now that we've taken away your ability to use physical hardware, we're just going to make it impossible for you to play that game. We're going to give it 2 or 3 months, and you know, we'll kick it up again. We need to save the server space, right? Whatever the excuse is going to be. And then you'll just be okay with it. Be like, oh yeah, and it'll amp people up and get people to want to play the game that has been offline for like 4 to 5 months. I'm not saying this is going to happen. I'm saying these are the things they can do with that level of power that you're just willing to give them. No. Dude, delete your accounts. I'm just telling you. And if you're serious about the blackout, that's what you should do. Now, that's easy for me to say because I have other options for games, right? But I'm just telling you right now, this company is not one that you want to stick with. If you let them get away with this, they're only going to get away with more later on. So, yeah. And I think it's funny that people are like doing the blackout thinking they're going to change Sony's mind. They're not going to change their mind over anything. The only thing that's going to change their mind is if hundreds of thousands of people decide they're going to bounce off the platform. Like, I don't even know how many million people are on Steam right now, or Sony right now, but I can tell you this. When you look at the Steam charts, I mean, they ain't hurting. It's 11 o'clock. Current players, I've seen this get up to like 800,000. Peak players, 1.2 million. It's a lot of damn people playing a single game. Pal World 121K. It's super late. But if you look at the numbers, for example, let's see here. Oh man, the top record's Elden Ring. That's wild. Yeah, I mean, here's today. So it goes anywhere between 180K. This had like, fuck, what was it? 600, yeah, it had almost 1 million players right at the release. And then obviously drops off over time, but just kind of funny to me, man. It's like, this is nuts, the amount of people that are on this platform. So at the end of the day, if you're going to blackout right, just delete your accounts. Like, I've got other options. You can get other options too. Like, your buddy's playing Call of Duty on PS4 or 5. I mean, I can see why you guys want to stick around for that, right? But, you know, I got Helldivers on Steam. You know what I mean? There's other, like, I've got Battlefield 6 over here, and it's multi-platform. I've got Space Marine 2. It's multi-platform. I can play with Sony people. I can play with Xbox people. I can play with all the people. Like, it's fine. So, anyway, guys, I'm going to drop this video. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Have a wonderful night, and delete your goddamn Sony accounts. Please. Do yourself a favor. It's not worth it. This company's trash. It's a shadow of what it once was. Like, the minute they started going away from their Japanese roots, when they got rid of Yuhei, out the door, man. Out the door. All right. Have a good night.